Tino. Alright, so this thing right here by the door gets a lot of use. I mean, baseball bat for, you know, just in case you have an uninvited guest. You can see I've added a bunch of screws because we hang all kinds of keys and stuff up here. Just whatever. Sweatshirt, another hook that I hang a sweatshirt on a lot. Purses for the girls. More hooks for keys. We love this thing. This is like one of the most used things in our house. When we walk in the door, when we're leaving, we're grabbing stuff off of it. And I kind of like the dream. You know, just some positive stuff before you leave and when you get home. So here's some stuff that I found. This was actually had one of these hooks ripped off. So I have 3 bird hooks here. As most know, I really like birds, so that's awesome. That's a positive thing. Is we have these hooks right here. These are good for you know, bringing in the mail or taking out the mail. You also have tags on here. You could even make little wooden tags probably to put in there. Maybe burn Chris and Hollie in there or something like that. And then you have a basket on the top. It looks like this is actually tack welded to this bar, so that's definitely gonna have to stay together. So I want to incorporate this stuff somehow and make one of those using the hardware on here, but replacing the wood and redoing the wood with my own idea. Alright, I got some boards sanded decently, and instead of just having a flat frame, kind of like a picture frame, which isn't very sturdy, I like to make my frame screwed together. See how this is just coming apart? Good job, Pier 1. Your shit just falls apart. So I'm going to frame it up kind of like this, where it's, you know, more of a solid frame. I want the frame behind it. That way I can screw it together in the sides and just have a solid frame actually behind what work I want to do. I've kind of came up with some ideas. I'm not sure yet, but I know I'm probably going to want to attach some boards on the front like this, possibly. And then have some open where you can actually see the wall behind it. You'll see what I mean. But the first thing I have to do is make my frame. So what I'm going to do right here on the table saw is I'm going to do about, I guess I'm going to go with 2-inch strips. And then I did some 1-inch strips. That way, once I do my frame, it's going to be standing up like this. Then possibly the parts that I leave open, I can sit that on top like that. And maybe dress up the boards a little. Because I also want possibly boards going across that I can decorate a little bit. Then the parts that do not have boards in front of it, I can dress up with like a 1-inch piece just to kind of decorate it so you don't just see the end of the board. Alright, came up with a 30 by 30 frame. This is my frame. And it's screwed and glued. I actually drilled holes out so I could fill them with dowel rods. That's one thing about my woodwork that I like to do. Glue and screw. Cover screws up with some dowel rods, makes it look pretty. And now I need to add a centerpiece in the middle. So pretty much have to measure from this corner inside to that corner inside to get the measurement of this middle piece. So now is when I have to actually measure the existing hardware that I'm going to use to add to my new project. So I'm going to have to add this centerpiece to make sure that these will actually fit from this side to the centerpiece that I add in here. Alright, so I'm sitting here playing with these things, trying to figure out where I want to put them on here. I think I'm just going to go with something like this. You have your butt, maybe like 2 bird hooks right here for, like, say hoodies or jackets or purses or whatever. Maybe like 2 of them here. Then these for your mail will be somewhere in here. So I think I'm just going to kind of go with that idea and just flow with it. You got to start somewhere. So I think the first thing I'm going to focus on is this board, I think. Sand it, and then maybe go ahead and attach it, glue it, screw it, and just plan on those being there. Possibly put a board here for those hooks. So that's what I'm going with for now. So that's a start. And of course I'm going to come back and put dowel rods in all these holes, make them look pretty. So that's what I'm planning on doing. Just keep adding pieces of wood, kind of decorate behind these, and then I guess I'll come in and maybe trim this up some with some other wood. Alright, so I've actually added some of the trim. Of course, like I said before, all these holes are going to be covered. This is pretty much where I'm thinking these pieces are going to stay, obviously. I've trimmed up, I've covered up the edges of the frame, trying to just beautify it a little bit. Still have to kind of do these and these. And then I'm thinking of some kind of backboard where I turn actually this over and actually add wood to the back to cover up these holes. Something different than the cedar I'm using. That way, it'll just give it character. Alright, so I took all my Pier 1 hardware off. I added these 4 pieces of trim that I didn't add before. Then I actually filled in all my screw holes with dowel rods. So all those are covered up now. You can see I have quite a few marks in the wood here from where I actually cut them flush, cut dowel rods flush, cover up all the holes. I have to say, it's looking like a pretty nice frame, and it's real light. It's super light, like it weighs nothing. Very light, solid and super light. I hate to brag, but mine's a whole lot more solid than some Pier 1 bullcrap. So I'm gonna take the sander here with some 220, and I'm just gonna sand the crap out of this thing until it's super smooth and pretty, and go from there. I'm liking it so far. All the screws covered up, my dowel rods sanded smooth. I hit it all with 220. Sanded it for a long time. I think it looks pretty good. So far, this is turning out pretty amazing. Alright, so I was sitting here looking at this thing, and I was thinking I I was thinking more of like I could put some wood instead of actually having wood right here to fill in these holes. I was thinking of almost turning these into boxes and then actually having these as like open holes, so I could do something a little different. I actually have these open. Well, before I put the backs on, all the wood on the back, I figured why not some hidden key holders, just some screws, but they're hidden. They're kind of in the back where you can just kind of, you know, lift in the, you know, reach in the back and just hang your keys in the back section. So that's a whole lot of spots right there to hang some keys. Alright, so here's the back. I cut out 7 boards for the back. Now I'll flip it over and we'll see what it looks like from the front. That is gonna be pretty cool. And I have my hidden screws back here so you can hang keys or whatever on it from the inside. It's gonna be pretty amazing. But now, before I actually assemble this, now I have to decide how I'm going to decorate it. I want it to have some positive sayings on it. So now I was thinking burning the word love, dream, create.
That is such a good idea. I'm gonna love to see when that's finished. That is gonna be awesome. This is what someone would want hanging in their country house. You know what I mean? Like this. Even like I can picture it with a finish on it. It's gonna be amazing. Like
yeah, it's gonna darken up. All that grain's gonna pop. Alright, so this is kind of why I didn't want to put the backs on yet, because now I'm coming up with other ideas, like actually adding shelves right here, like this hole right here that's open. I'm gonna put a piece of wood back here behind this piece of wood. That way it'll be like kind of a hidden shelf, but you could actually put, I don't know, whatever on there, shot glasses or anything you want, to really just little things to decorate. I want this part to be a shelf here. I think that would be awesome. And I was also thinking right here can be a shelf also. So that's like 3 shelves that I could add. And I'm also having an idea for right here. I could possibly make another cubby hole. And I actually think I know where the perfect thing to use. If I remember right, I have something tucked back here, and I have a feeling I might have to fight to get it. Because the bamboo's kind of grown through it, so I guess I could just like cut a piece off. But I think this mesh right here would be perfect. There we go, something like that. And then now I'll put a decorative piece of wood across the top. Now I'm kind of wishing that I would have just had this piece right here extend all the way across. Unfortunately, it is permanent, so I'm just gonna come off here with another 1-inch piece like this and just probably come down a little lower right here and come across. That way it's not really going into that one. It'll be more like, I don't know, character. Okay, so I added my piece of wood here. I used some little screws and washers to kind of mount the mesh in there. And I added my 3 shelves. So now when I flip it over, there's the mesh and the little shelves right here where you can just kind of sit stuff on the shelves. So when the backing is actually on it, the backing will actually be up to the shelf, so nothing will fall off the back of it or anything like that. Now I just have to fill some of these holes in. with dowel rods, cover up these new holes that I've made, do some more sanding, and I guess then I will attach the backing. Alright, that's looking cool. I put it all back together just to see what it's gonna look like finished, and I'm also still debating whether I want to put some words in here. And I was thinking if I do, I'm just gonna keep it simple and possibly just maybe put family right there. I was thinking about just having family across right here, just to keep it simple and also meaningful. The word family is pretty meaningful because that's who's going to be using this as they go in and out, is the families. Alright, that's pretty much what I came up with. I actually used a burner that I found. I outlined the M with the burner, and then I just finished those up with the Sharpie, which actually made it look cool because the M and the Y are darker, so I think it actually turned out really good. So now I pretty much have to take this all back apart again, do some detail sanding, install the back boards, glue and screw them on, and then I'll start putting a clear coat on this thing. Alright, I got the backs on, all the back boards, all of the screws are covered with dowel rods. Here is the front. I have been sanding the crap out of it all the way down to 220, so now all I have to do is blow it off with the air compressor, blow some of the dust out of here, and then I will put a finish on here, make it all shiny, make this grain pop. All the holes are filled in. Even the back side of it's pretty. I don't know how many times I said Pier 1. Holly actually reminded me that this is all actually Kirkland's hardware and not Pier 1.